You're listening to The Map of Us, a companion podcast to the LGBTQ Media Mapping Project. I'm your host, Dana Piccoli, Managing Director of News is Out, a pioneering queer media collaborative. Welcome. In this episode, we're looking at LGBTQ news deserts, the places where no queer outlet is producing original reporting. The Mapping Project identified 18 states with no local LGBTQ newsroom, and estimated that at least 1.5 million LGBTQ people live without any dedicated local coverage in their communities. And these gaps shape how people stay informed, how they organize, and how they see themselves reflected in local life. To explore what these deserts look like on the ground, and what it means to report for communities with limited access to queer news, we're turning things over to Jeremy Rodriguez, editor at the Philadelphia Gay News. Jeremy is joined by Nicole Layhee, secretary of the board of directors at the Community Center in Boise, Idaho, to discuss the impact of these gaps and what it takes to expand coverage into regions that have long gone without it.
I'm Jeremy Rodriguez, and today we're talking about news deserts and LGBTQ media. Right now, there are 18 entire states without any dedicated LGBTQ news coverage, leaving millions of people underrepresented, and Idaho is one of them. I'm joined by Nicole Layhee, secretary of the board of directors at the Community Center in Boise. Founded in 1983, the Community Center, also known as TCC, serves LGBTQIA people and allies by providing resources, educational programs, and a safe, welcoming space for youth, support groups, and community connection. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first off, Nicole, tell us a little bit about your community and the role your center plays in people's everyday lives.
Yes. Well, Boise is a blue dot in the state of Idaho. So it's really kind of one of the few, hard to say liberal, but liberal, more left leaning areas. And so it's often seen as one of the few safer spaces for us to be, for us to be out and about. And our center, we try to serve the community of the Treasure Valley, or the wider Treasure Valley. We primarily provide an event space where people can meet, where groups can host their events. We also host our own events, as well as host some support groups that for people who need to meet. We offer a food pantry for people in need of food. We also have a lending library that has over 3,700 titles, and that becomes more important as Idaho pushes restrictions on libraries and what books they can have.
So, can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be living in a news desert where it can be difficult to provide information to wider audiences? Do you find any difficulties with that?
Definitely. I have to say I'm relatively new to Boise myself. It is difficult to get in touch with the queer community. Because it is a news desert, it's fairly fragmented. Many things pass by word of mouth. There's no newsletter. There's, as you said, no media coverage. It takes an effort to find people, and the community center tries to be one of the places where you can reach out and find a community. But there's other smaller, small groups around Boise and around Idaho. But what we really need is more coordination and communication between us, as well as a place to post social events. And yeah.
So, how do you get word out about your events and things like that happen at the center?
We do our best. We have a calendar on our website. We also reach out on Facebook and Instagram. So some people hear about us through that as well. A lot of people hear about us through word of mouth. That is, someone they know has been involved in an event or joined an event at the community center, and they tell other people this is the community center. So it's really those ways through social media if we can. People who know us, if they're on our mailing list, they'll get an email once a month about our events coming up. And on our website, we have events listed, but it's, again, still rather difficult. Facebook and Instagram are not necessarily the best media for conveying these events. Still, people do manage to find us that way.
What's it like when people do find you and find out about the resources you provide?
Well, generally, they're excited to find out, that the community center exists and the services that we offer. They're happy to find them. Because we're small, though, we can't provide all the services that we'd like to. We only have a small number of support groups that use our space, and maybe some others will get on our calendar. But um, in general, I'm pleased to hear when other people have found us and definitely interested to know how they found us. And a lot of people, once they find us, we see them repeatedly. They come again, to different events, or to one event they come to, if it occurs monthly, we'll see them there.
Now, we're talking a lot about events, and those definitely
Yeah.
do have value as far
Hmm.
as building a community is concerned.
Hmm.
But do you ever feel a responsibility or a pressure to get information out to the public about, let's say, if there's a problematic anti LGBTQ legislation in
Hmm.
Idaho? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we'd like to do advocacy. We'd like to do more of it. Um, Right now, a lot of it is in collaboration with the ACLU of Idaho. They're the ones that really are monitoring what's going on at the state level, and giving us a heads up, and inviting us to help and to participate. And we try to get out to the word to the people we know, and also other groups that we know that may be interested in that. But as I said, we'd like to have an advocacy program. We're a fairly small group right now, but it's definitely something we want to build on. It's something that our members have definitely expressed interest in, and something that we definitely need to do better on. We are in communication with the ACLU. They're very good about communicating bills and so on that are going to affect us. Um, and Also the uh, various rallies protesting Trump. We try to keep on track of that too, um, and have at least some representation there.
Is it ever a challenge to get that information out to other people?
Yes, it is, definitely. We don't want to spam people. We don't want to overburden people with the news that comes across us, but at the same time, we would definitely want people to find out about it. And we're working on trying to have a newsletter come out. So this is fairly new, but we'd like to have a newsletter that keeps people informed about the issues and what's taking place.
Now, I feel like typically the easiest thing to do whenever there is a question that somebody has, whether it's related to legislation or whatever it
Mhm,
is, you can easily Google it. That's a little bit
mhm.
challenging in a news desert when information isn't always readily available. Do people come to you with questions that you feel could have been answered if there was a local paper or a reporter or any type of local LGBTQ media coverage?
We get a lot of questions about finding counselors, finding medical professionals that are affirming. I mean, this comes up a lot, and it would be great if there were a place for these to advertise, for counselors to say, we're a safe and affirming business. Businesses also do reach out to us. Now, we don't have the bandwidth right now to vet everything that comes by, but we'd also like to still know who's available and be able to say, here's some counseling services, for example, that would like to um or that are safe for us. And another thing that comes up a lot too is, as far as name and gender changes on legal documents. And that information, it would be great if if people could advertise those services, that they have expertise in it. For example, now and then there is a workshop that the ACLU puts on for changing legal name changes and gender changes on documents, but getting that word out again, a lot of that happens by word of mouth. It's on their Discord, or try to inform organizations like us about that upcoming so we can try to get the word out. But it would be much more effective if there were some central uh, news place they could advertise that people would know to look.
It's kind of like difficult to passively receive information if it's not readily being disseminated out there by
Right.
people. Um,
Yeah. Even if you're actively looking, which, you need to be in a place like this, actively looking, it's still difficult to find the information you want.
have people ever been surprised by something that's going on in their community, particularly specifically the LGBTQ community? Have they ever been surprised, like after receiving information from your center?
I imagine so. I know that there are some people that are surprised that there's a place like our center. So it would be nice if people were not surprised to find out that we have a LGBTQIA plus community center. But generally, I think a lot of people are surprised to find out that there is a queer community at large. Again, the problem again, as you point out, it's a news desert. And so it is very fragmented as far as how information gets around.
Well, I'm sure the community in Boise really appreciates you
Hmm.
being able to provide that information. It's very unfortunate that you don't have more access to resources.
Yes. There did used to be a news magazine that was published in Boise called Diversity, but that I think last published in 2011.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a while.
A lot has changed since then.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, for my last question,
Mhm.
if LGBTQ plus media were to suddenly pop up in your neighborhood, what would you want people to understand about the community?
I'd like people to understand that they're not alone, that there are more people, because I've met people that do largely don't leave their house all that often because they're scared of how they'll be received. There's a lot of people who I meet that are, um, I guess you could say, are quietly out of the closet, or, they're not, um, they're kind of quasi closeted still. Um, and I think it would be helpful if there were media for people to see, they aren't alone, that there are other people like them. There is community. There's a place to find friends. There's a place to, there's people to get together with. Um, there's people like them.
And what about Boise's LGBTQ community specifically?
With Boise's, what I'd like is for all these different small groups to learn about each other. It seems like every so often I learn that there's a new group somewhere uh, in in Boise, and it would be great for these various groups to be aware of each other, and maybe then we could work together too.
Now, if somebody in Idaho is listening to this right now, where can people find the center?
Uh, um, we're at physically, we're at 1088 North Orchard Street in Boise, Idaho. We have open hours where people can just drop in Monday from 3 to 7 p.m., Thursdays from 5 to 8 p.m., and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We can be found on the web at tccidaho.org, tccidaho.org, and there people can find our events, volunteering opportunities. They can read about us, learn about our board of directors, and find out as much as they need to know about us.
Okay. All right, Nicole. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. And
Sure.
thank you for the work that you do as well. There's definitely some great value in the work that you provide, but hopefully there will be somebody who
Mhm.
will put forth LGBTQ media in your city so you don't have to
Mhm.
do all the work essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is a dream of the community center is if we get large enough and have enough volunteers and enough support that we ourselves might be able to start acting as a bit of an outlet.
Before we wrap, we want to thank our partners for supporting this work. The LGBTQ Media Mapping Project is funded by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, with support from the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at City University of New York, Local Media Association, and News is Out. To learn more about the Media Mapping Project, visit newsisout.com. Special thanks to Ken Schneck of the Buckeye Flame for the use of his podcast platform, and to Jeremy and Nicole for today's conversation. And thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of The Map of Us.